What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Today we're going to be flying the PMDG 737 from Seattle to Denver. This is going to be our flight plan here. We're doing real time, so I believe we're going to be having a nighttime arrival. We're going to be departing in the daytime, but I believe we'll be landing in the night. So we'll be flying runway 16 left, the Seattle 8 departure and the C transition into Denver, runway 16 left, the Flatty 3 arrival, and the Tofu transition. I haven't done anything in the plane, so we can go ahead and jump inside the plane and we can get our pre-flight checklist started. First thing we need to do, make sure our parking brake is on. We'll jump to our overhead here. Let me adjust my keyboard here. We'll jump to the overhead. We'll get our battery switch turned on. Our electric hydraulic pumps can come on, and we can get established on ground power. And there we are, established on the ground power. We'll come down here. We'll double check that our landing gear lever is down. We have 3 green. We could do our fire warning tests, an APU fire warning test. It pops up here. Extinguish the lights. Very good. Everything seems to be working there. We'll make sure these lights are working. Very good. And we'll do our overhead checks in our overhead warning checks in a second here. Let's see. Landing gear lever down. APU fire warning. Position lights can come on. They are on. Wing lights can come on. Engine bleed switches are already on. IRSs can be set to nav. Emergency exit light can come on. No smoking, and seatbelt signs can come on as well. Toggle those on there. Our flap lever, we will double check that our flap lever is up. Our speed brake lever is down. Our galley switch is on. Our window heats can come on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And probe heats will stay off, and we are ready to start programming the plane. So we'll jump down here. First thing we'll do, we'll go FS actions. We'll go to payload. And we need to grab our zero fuel weight today. So our zero fuel weight is looking like 104.1. 104.1. We'll drop that in there. Goes out of these messages. We'll hit return. We'll go to fuel, and today our block fuel is 15,304. There we are. We'll drop that in there, and we're good to go. So we'll head back. We'll hit return. We'll hit menu. We'll go to FMC. Close out of that. Oh, there may be I said it was out of date, so I have to do a Navigraph update next time we fly. We'll go to position in it. We're going to be starting at KSEA. That's our reference airport. We'll jump to the second page. We'll grab our GPS left. We'll jump back and we'll drop that in here. And now we'll head to route. We'll drop KC here, and KDEN can go here. Flight number today, we're not flying a real flight. We're flying just a SimBrief flight, which is going to be American 215. We're departing on runway 16 left. We'll put that in here. And we'll go ahead and head over to the next page. We'll start putting in these waypoints. Our first waypoint is going to be C, S-E-A. Get that in, S-E-A, 2. Then we're going direct to Normy, N-O-R-M-Y. Drop that in there. And then to M-O-D-D-A. And I gotta move my cursor over here, and then STEVS. Very good. Then we're going to F-I-N-U-T. F-I-N-U-T. Drop that in there. Head over to the next page. Then we're jumping on Quebec 148, and we're going to take that to W-E-D-A-K. We'll drop that there. From there, we're going direct to DLN. And our last one is going to be Tofu, T-O-F-U-U. T-O-F-U-U. We'll drop that in there. We'll go to departure and arrival. We're going to be departing. Again, that's going to be runway 16 left. And we're going to be doing the C8. And I guess the C isn't a transition here. So we'll go over here. We'll go to arrivals. We're going to be arriving runway 16 left. ILS 16 left. And that's going to be this arrival and the Tofu transition. And I believe that's it. We're good to go. Okay, so we'll hit route. We'll activate, execute legs. We'll jump back here. We'll set this over to plan mode. And we'll step through this to make sure everything is right. So we're going to fly a runway heading off a departure. And then we'll do a direct to C after we depart. So we'll go step, step. And we'll keep stepping through these here. And make sure everything looks good. Looks like from here, let's go next page. We'll grab this guy. We'll go back a page and we'll drop it in here. We'll execute that. There we are. And then we should be lined up for the runway there. Everything looks good there. All right, let's jump back down here. We're going to go to init ref. Our zero fuel weight again today is 104.1. So we will put that in zero fuel weight. Reserves, we did 1,000. Our cost index is going to be 5. We'll drop that in here. Our cruise altitude is going to be 390. We'll put that here. 258063 is going to be our average cruise winds. Unable to 50 knots at Eldo. Okay, we'll fix that. Close that out. We'll go ahead and hit execute. We'll go to N1 limit. We're going to do takeoff configuration 1. We'll head over to takeoff. We're going to do flaps 5 departure. That'll give us our trim, which is 5.2. V1, VR, and V2 speed. So 129 is going to be our V2 speeds. So 5.25 is going to be our trim. Let's get that set up now. Let's say right about there. We'll go ahead and go to overhead panel here, and for our pressurization, we'll set this to 390. All right, everything's looking good so far. So let's take a look at our departure. So we're departing runway 16 left. This is our departure chart. So if we zoom in and we look at 16 left down here, climb on a heading of 165. Top altitudes assigned by ATC, so we'll just set it right up to 390. But 165 is going to be our departing heading. So let's get that in. This is going to be 129. And this will be 39,000. And there we are. We have all of that set. All right, with that being said, we're going to put our arrival information in once we are on our descent. So for now, I think we are all set to move on to our before start checks. So our FMC is programmed. We'll get our flight directors 1 and 2 turned on. Our auto throttle switch is turned off. We set our speed, our heading, and our altitude. Our autopilot disengage bar is up. Our thrust levers are idle. Our stabilizer trim is set. We'll set our auto brakes to RTO. And we'll go overhead and we will go ahead and get our APU started. So we'll go to start. We'll click on a fuel tank there. We get our APU bleed turned on. And we will wait for that to turn on and we'll get our yaw damper on. We could do our stall warnings, our Mach airspeeds. We'll check our flaps here. Everything looks good. Let's jump down here and we'll set this into standby and we'll run a test on that as well, a TCAS test. We'll get some of our panel lighting on because, like I said, I think we're going to be flying into sunset, so we're going to want these on. If we end up doing the time lapse, which I'm sure we will, but I'm not 100% sure how that's going to look flying into the dark, so we'll see. I'm going to get my panel lights on so that way if it turns dark and we're in the time lapse, you know, they'll already be set. All right, APU, we're waiting for that to stabilize. It looks like it is about to kick on here. As soon as it does, we'll establish on our APU. We'll get our ground power or ground services terminated and do our pushback before pushback check. So there we are. We'll get our APU gen on. We're now on our APU generator. All right, so next thing, fuel pumps can come on. I don't think we're using our center tanks. No, we're not. All right, fuel tanks are on. APU generator switches are on. Seatbelt signs are confirmed. Flight deck doors and windows are locked. Anti-collision lights can come on, and we can get our ground services out. So ground services, And we will go ahead and release ground power and remove the wheel chocks. All right, let's figure out where we're going. So we'll pull up our airport chart, taxi chart, airport info. 16 left is right here. So it looks like we're just going to push back straight and then we'll taxi up to, I guess, Bravo, and take Bravo all the way down. Yeah, that looks like that works for me. All right, I haven't done a flight in a little while, so I don't think there's anything I'm forgetting. Let's hope not. We can go back to legs here. Again, we're going to vector, so we'll put C up here once we depart. And I think we are ready for pushback. So we'll go ahead and release our brake. We'll get our engine ignition set to the left, and let's call for our tug. So there we are. We have them coming. So we'll go ahead and set this to ground. We'll keep an eye down here to get this, introduce our fuel around 21% on the N2. Also, I didn't set up my wing view. There we are. All right, there we are. We'll go ahead and give it some fuel. We'll let that engine come to life. Look at that. Not even 11 minutes and we're already starting our pushback. That is great. We'll set this back to map mode instead of that. We can go ahead and turn terrain on. There's going to be a lot of terrain in the area. Alright, this should be clicking off. It did. We'll go ahead and get our left engine going. We'll wait and we'll look for our 20%, 21% on our N2. And there it is. We'll give it some fuel. Just keep on pushing straight back. We're going to stop here in just a second. And then we could do our after start checks. I'd say that's probably good right about here. Go ahead and stop our pushback. We'll put our brakes on. We'll put our parking brake on. Wait for this to click off. There it goes. And we could do our after start check. So let's go to the overhead panel. We need to go on our engine generator switches 1 and 2. So Gen 1, Gen 2. We are now off of our APU. Our bleed switch can come off. Our APU can come off. We can get our pack set to auto. Our isolation valve set to auto. Our probe heats can come on. What else we got? We're not using any anti-ice. I think we're good. So we gotta come down here and set this to TARA, even though we're not flying a squawk code or anything because we're not flying with ATC. I think everything else is good there. Parking brake. We can start our taxi here. So we can do. Let's get our flaps set to flaps 5. And there we are. Flaps are set. Taxi lights can come on. Runway turnoff lights can come on. And flaps are set. Yep, we're good. We're good to start our taxi. Just double check everything here. Parking brake, taxi lights, runway turnoff lights, flaps, flight controls. Yep. All right, we can move this up. We can release our brake. And we're going to make a right turn here. We'll give ourselves a little bit of throttle. And we'll start a right turn here. Look at that glare coming off that dial. That looks awesome. A little bit more throttle so we can pull this turn off. We're basically like U-turning here. I really do need to get like the pushback mod. Or just learn how to use the one that's like provided with PMDG 737. Because there is one that you can do. I've just never messed around with it. I don't know why. I'll have to jump in and mess around with that. All right. We'll follow our taxi line. Again, we're going to jump on Bravo. So we'll follow this right into Bravo, and we're going to take Bravo all the way down to 16 left. If you guys are enjoying this, be sure to drop a like. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way you can support the channel. And if there's anywhere you want me to fly, let me know. There has been a couple of requests I am working on. So some patience and I'll get those done. All right, we'll follow this taxi line. I believe around this way we should be able to jump on. Okay, so we're gonna go over here, jump on that taxiway, or is that the runway? No, that's the active runway. There we go. We're gonna follow this yellow line right here to the right, and that's Bravo. We'll take that all the way down. It looked a little bit different on the chart. I thought there was a grass gap between the taxiway and the aprons, but there's not. All right, so we'll finish this turn and then we'll throttle up, get our speeds going, get ourselves down there. This is gonna be taxiway Bravo. Here's a wing view. All right, so let's give ourselves some throttle. Let's get ourselves taxied down. We don't have too far to go, about half a runway. And then we will do our before takeoff checks. We'll hold short of the runway and get our before takeoff checks. Now, we didn't input our arrival information yet. Oh, and we also need to get our barometer. I did not get our barometer. Which we could do that while we're moving, actually. I should have already done that, but let's go to MEDAR. Here we are. 3008 is going to be our barometer. And there we are. Barometer set. All right, we'll just keep on taxiing on down here. Clear skies. Again, we are flying real-time, real weather, so I really think that this is probably going to be an evening or night landing. It's got to be. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's like 7:30 and it's a 2-hour flight, so yeah. We'll definitely be landing at nighttime. There's another wing view. You can see the buses and stuff over there. We are taxiing kind of fast. But we are almost there. We have 2 more turns to go. So we're going to cross Echo, cross Delta, and we're going to line up at Charlie, I believe. You can see the terrain. We definitely have some terrain we're gonna have to deal with. I don't know if this has got to be zoom based, right? Yeah, for sure. Look at that. We're squeezed in between the mountains here. I really enjoyed flying into this airport, and when we did fly into this airport, we landed on 16 right, which is 2 runways to the right of us, and it was a beautiful arrival. I really liked it, so I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy the departure here, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. And zoom this back in. And we have to remember, after departure, we do a direct to. All right, and here we are. We're gonna skip this one and we're gonna hold short at the next left here. So we'll start slowing down, that way we can make that turn. It's not too abrupt. All right, here we go. And we're gonna go ahead and hold short here. So we'll go ahead and put our brake on. Our before takeoff checks. Our auto throttle can come on. Our engine start switches can go to continuous. Master caution recall, we are good. Transponder we set. Landing lights can come on. And strobes can come on as well. There we go. All right, with that being said, we're ready to line up on the runway. So we'll go ahead and release our brakes. We'll give ourselves some throttle and we'll push ourselves right out onto that runway. All right, we are ready for departure. Let's go into, whoop, I want to go into a left wing view. All right, we are ready for departure. So we'll go ahead and hit our toggle button. We'll keep our nose down and we'll wait for our call outs and we'll listen for our V speeds. Cross checked.
V1, rotate.
Rotating.
Positive rate of climb.
Go ahead and gear up. Go into a wing view. Wow, what a beautiful departure. All right, we'll jump back up here. We're gonna pitch down. We can bring our flaps into 1, and we can bring our flaps all the way in now. We can go ahead and go VNAV, LNAV. We can go ahead and set the autopilot on, go back into VNAV mode. We can go ahead and get our gear back down, and we could do our direct to at this point, I believe. Oh, it looks like we're already heading direct to. All right, so back into that wing view. Man, look at that. What a beautiful airport. This is one of my favorite airports. I don't know why. I think it's because it's on a hill, or, you know, you could tell the level. I don't know. But I really, really enjoy flying out of and into this airport. It's one of my favorites. What a beautiful departure. Okay, we could do our after takeoff checks with landing gear up, flaps up, taxi light switches. We can turn off. Auto brakes can come off, and we are good. That is our takeoff checks. We will do our climb checks at 10,000. What a beautiful airport to fly out of, man. Definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoyed that departure. And there's the airport right off our wingtip there. Beautiful. All right, let's jump back up in the cockpit here. We're climbing up over 7,000 feet now. We're above any potential terrain, I believe, so we'll go ahead and turn our terrain off. And we are on our way to Normie, which is our next waypoint. Let's see if I can see. There's our top of climb. Yeah, we got a little ways to go. We are coming up on 9,000. Again, we'll do our climb checks there, which is simple. Landing lights can come off, engine start switch is set to off, and seatbelt signs can come off as well, which is just about where we're at. So we'll go ahead and get our landing lights off. Engine start switches can go back to off, and seatbelt signs. We are stable and climbing. We can go ahead and release our seatbelts. I'm going to stay with you guys until 18,000. At 18,000, that's where we're going to start our time lapse as usual. Great departure. All right, 10,000 feet. Oh, and we needed to fix the, I think it was in here. So 250 slash. So that earlier when we got that can't do 240 at whatever that waypoint was, I don't remember. Unable 250 knots at Eldu. That should fix it. I don't know why that didn't fix it. Let me see. Let me go into legs. Let's go to that waypoint and see what that's all about. I don't even see that waypoint. Oh, here it is. 250, so 245. Oh, you know what? We're going to... That 250 should have fixed that. Descent. 250. Cruise. Climb. I was almost positive that in order to fix that, you change your descent speed, which I did, but we still got that error. I don't know. I guess we will. I thought that was the right way to do that, but oh, let me check one more thing. Here, no, I'm not sure, but I also do want to do this. KDEN. I want I forget if it's /5 or there we go, and /10. That'll give me a radius around the airport to let me know when we're 5 miles and 10 miles from the airport. Climbing through 16,800 now. We're coming up on our 18,000 transition. Everything went pretty smooth. A little bit of haze down there. We got out of Seattle, no problem. And I definitely am excited for this flight. Cruise checks are done. We can go ahead and set into standard mode. We're 100 feet from our transition altitude and everything is good. We'll go ahead and jump in the front window view here, and this will be where we do our time lapse. And I'm going to set the music here, and I hope you guys enjoy the flight. I will see you guys when we're closer to our descent. Guys, welcome back. We've started our initial descent. Here we are on our arrival. This is where we're at, and we have to put in all of our arrival information. So we're gonna head over to our arriving airport, Denver, and I want to pull up the airport chart. Here we go. And the first thing I want to do is get excuse me, the airport elevation. So 5434, so that'd be about 5450 is going to be our landing altitude. So let's get that set. So 5450, there we are. So we got that set. Okay, and we're going to be arriving runway 16 left. By the way, the flight was pretty good. We did have some turbulence midway through, which you guys could probably see in the time lapse. Definitely had some turbulence. First thing I want to do is get our ILS, which is going to be 200. We're going to do the radio today instead of barrel. So we'll set that to radio, and we'll set that to 200. There we are. 200. Our frequency is going to be 111.1. So let's jump down here. It's going to be 111 and 1. We'll set that back. We'll do the same thing over here. 111.1. Boom. We got that set. Our final approach course is going to be 173. There we go. We'll do it on this side as well. 173. There we are. And what else do we need here? Our airport elevation we did, our barrel we did, our frequency we did, our final approach course we did. All right, let's head down here, and we're going to go to init ref, and we're going to do flaps 30, 124 knot landing. So we'll put that in there. So 124 plus 5, we're going to be landing at 129 knots at flaps 30. looks good to me. Everything's looking just fine to me. We are on our initial descent. I think we are good. Target speed 2.5 on our descent. I think I tried to change that to 250/250. We'll execute that. We'll head back over to legs. I think it's going to recalculate a couple things here. There we go. And we are a little bit below our descent path. Not by much. It looks like we're only about 300 feet, but we're catching right back up to that. So we're leveling off to catch that. Everything else is looking good. So we pretty much have our descent checks complete. Our landing lights will come on at 10,000 feet. We just, well, you didn't see it, but we did our pressures, our air conditioner and pressures and everything are good. We set our landing altitude for the pressures. Our ATIS was going to be 3005 on the altimeter below 18,000. We can set our engine start switches to continuous and set the FMC for approach or arrival. So we did that. So we'll wait till we get a little bit lower before we set our engine start switches to continuous. And obviously our landing lights don't have to come on until 10,000, which is about the time we'll get our seatbelt signs on as well. So we are pretty good. We have, I believe that's going to be Denver out in front of us there. Let me pull up the chart on my other screen and drag it over here so you guys can see where we are on the arrival. This is where we're at now. These are altitude restrictions and speed restrictions for our following or our upcoming waypoints. And then here we'll make a right turn and we'll start looking for our ILS frequency, or our localizer rather. We'll open charts. We'll take a look at approach 16 left. Here's going to be our approach chart. So at 7,000 feet, it looks like we can do an intercept on our ILS, the glide slope and everything like that. And over here you can see ILS is 5557 for barometer and 200 for radio. We set it out to radio today. And we should be all good. So all we have to do now is pretty much monitor the plane and maintain our altitude and speed constraints, which the plane should do on its own, but we'll, you know, keep an eye on it. Everything's in here right. Let's take a look at our path, make sure everything looks right here. It does. What is that waypoint? Yep, that's right. Okay, everything looks good to me. So we pretty much, like I said, we're just gonna keep an eye on everything. We can get our terrain on, although I don't think we're gonna have much terrain at this altitude. Coming down below 25,000 feet, we're at 250 knots. I'm curious why we're slowed down so fast already. It doesn't have a speed restriction until 2 more waypoints from now, so maybe it's because I changed our descent speed. But I did that because we had a problem at, I think it was Eldo, if I remember correctly. We had a problem there where we couldn't meet that speed restriction or whatever the issue was. But that's all right. We've slowed down a little bit, no problem. We can always utilize that speed later if we need to descend quicker if we get above our flight path, our descent rate or something like that. But flight went pretty good. Like I said, there was some turbulence. I'd say a quarter of the way, halfway through the flight, we started hitting some turbulence. You'll definitely see that in the time lapse. We're throwing the plane around a little bit, threw us a little bit left and right, and you know, it was pretty shaky. But it seemed to settle out. The sunset was really nice, really good sunset, and it set pretty quick. You know, I think it's because we're flying from the west coast, you know, east. Maybe we were flying against the direction of the setting sun, so maybe that's why it felt like it set quicker. But definitely felt like the sun set pretty quick. Also, the airport is at 5,500 feet, give or take. So we're about 5,000 feet below our altitude for ground level. So right now we're coming up on about 15,000 feet above the ground. I'll jump in a window view, but I don't think there's going to be much to see. Not very exciting, so we'll jump back up here. But we do have Denver starting to clip in up here. You're starting to see the city lights on the sky and everything. Again, here's where we are on our arrival. So when we came back from our time lapse, we were, I think, up around here. So I'd say within the next 10 minutes, maybe, yeah, I'd say about 10 minutes, we'll be on the ground. Flight went pretty well. Let's turn this thing down. I always leave this on so bright when I fly night flights. This thing is just super bright. Let's get that turned down. There we go. Much better. All right, coming down to 20,000. I don't know what the actual protocol is for doing descent checks, at what point you would actually do it, but we'll go ahead and get our engine set to continuous now. I'm also going to toggle on seatbelts just to let them know that we're getting ready for our arrival. And that's all we got to do for now. We're coming up on our transition altitude in a minute, so we'll go into, we'll toggle out of standard mode, and our altimeter for arrival is 3005. We could probably just do that now. So we'll come out of standard mode and we'll set this 3005. There we are. It put us a little bit above our descent path, our VNAV path, but that's all right. We're catching right back up to that. Very beautiful, relaxing flight. I did enjoy flying out in the day and landing in the night. I definitely enjoyed that. So we'll zoom this in a little bit more here. We got, I don't know, 40 miles or so before we make that right turn. Start looking for our localizer. If you guys are enjoying this flight, be sure to hit that like button. Best way you can support my channel is by subscribing. This is like 94% of the viewers that watch the videos aren't subscribed, so hit that subscribe button. You don't got to hit the bell icon if you don't want to, but hit that subscribe button. Alright, got some terrain coming in below us a little bit. It's giving us an idea. Well, I guess it's pretty much all flat now, but we'll keep that on for now, just to watch out for any obstructions. But I think we're pretty clear of the mountains. If I move this over here, you can see all the mountains over here we're pretty much clear of, so we shouldn't have any issues with terrain or anything to be concerned of. So I'm gonna go ahead and toggle that off. Actually, we don't need that. Over here, I think it's this button. I always forget what button it is. There we go. That shows our glide path and everything. We can see where our target altitudes are going to be and when we're going to hit them and everything. Looks pretty good to me. 14,000 feet. We can do some of our approach checks. We're going to be doing auto brakes too. Landing lights don't have to come on yet. Decision height set. Master caution recall. We're good. Both sides are good. Speed brakes, we can go ahead and arm that. Speed brakes armed. Flaps, landing gear, and taxi light switches we will work on once we get established. There was one other thing I wanted to look at, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, right here. Okay. So we can go up to flaps 5 at 250 knots and below. And then flaps 10 at 210 knots. So once we get a little bit closer, we'll go flaps 5 and start slowing the plane down, but we'll wait until we're established to do so. I believe our speeds are going to be coming down. You can actually see them coming down now. We're going to be coming down to 210 knots, I believe. We may have to introduce some drag. I'm going to wait down here to see if a little message pops up or anything. See if we have to put in a little drag or not. So far, it looks like we're okay. We're not flying on VATSIM or anything, so I can turn TCAS on, or traffic, I mean. But there's not going to be any traffic indicated because we're not flying live. There we go. Drag required. So we'll put a little drag in, slow ourselves down, capture that speed. And there we are. So we'll go ahead and rearm our speed brake, and we are all set. Actually, what we'll do is we'll jump into a right wing view. I believe Denver is going to be off our right wing downtown. All right, we're coming up on that turn. We got about 3 nautical miles before we make that right turn. And then we'll start looking for our localizer once we do. We're 13,000 feet. Well, we can wait till we get a little bit lower. We got a little time before we start looking for the localizer. And there's those rings that we put in earlier. So our 5 mile and our 10 mile rings let us know how far the airport is, or how far we are from the airport, I suppose. We could add in more if we wanted, but I think that's probably fine. But if you wanted to, you would go down here and you go to fix. And I mean, I guess we could do like 15/15. We'll put that in there. Go back to legs. If we jump up here, you can now see there's another ring for the 15 mile mark. All right, right turn complete. We don't have our localizer on the screen. We don't have our diamonds on here just yet. We will keep an eye out for them. Looks like we are slipping above our VNAV path a little bit. Not too much, and it looks like we're starting to capture it again. So we'll wait to see our localizer diamond. Once our localizer diamond pops up, or we have an indication of it, we'll toggle it on. There it is. Just popped up right there. So we are at 12,000 feet. We're cleared below 10,000. So we'll go ahead and get our landing lights on now. We'll do our localizer. We'll see if we can get a capture on it, or, you know, as soon as we can. And we could do our approach, landing lights, auto brakes, decision height, master caution, speed brake set, flaps, landing gear, and taxi light switches. So flaps, landing gear, and taxi lights is all we have left to do on our approach. Everything else is all set. Other than approach, we also have to capture our glide slope. But we will do that shortly after we capture our localizer. We have our altitude set to 7,000, which is our intercept altitude. There's our glide slope. So as soon as we capture that VOR or localizer, we'll toggle on the glide slope, or the approach mode. Looks like we're going to be descending pretty much just under it. Which is good. I don't know at what point, like how far out you can capture a localizer. Maybe 15 miles, I mean, or 20 miles maybe. I would assume we're probably going to lock onto it very shortly here. There's a wing view. You can see we're pretty close to the ground. But yeah, I would imagine we're going to capture it pretty soon here. And by the way, we do have the Denver scenery, so you will get a chance to see the Denver sceneries, which are really nice. They did a really good job with it. So we're pretty much following our glide slope. I'm not sure if I could hit approach now and capture that without capturing the localizer. I always thought you had to capture the localizer first. So that's what I'm going to do. And if I need to go into a manual mode or anything to get us back down to the localizer or the glide slope, I'll do that. But I don't think I'm going to have to do that. There's our runways now. They're just rendered in and popped up in front of us there. So we're crossing this runway here, and we're going to this inner, the right side, but the inner one. That's going to be our landing runway. So our descent rate is perfectly following our glide slope so far. We'll go ahead and get some flaps in. We're gonna go flaps 5, which is gonna help the plane slow down here. We should get a VOR lock here in a second, or a lock onto the localizer. Go ahead and get our taxi lights on. And we're about 10 miles out. We're going to drop our gear shortly. Should grab this localizer here in a second. We'll go ahead and get some more flaps in. Get our speeds down a little bit more. There's our localizer capture. We'll go ahead and toggle on approach mode. Well, sorry about that. We got to get our gear down. So it's going to be noisy for a second. All right, we'll get fully configured flaps wise. That is just our alert letting us know that we're too low to the ground without our landing gear down, but that should stop here in just a second, so I do apologize for that. There we are. It was either no, I think it was either gear or flaps, or it had something to do with that. I forget. I think as soon as you go, I forget why it does that, but we are locked onto the localizer. We're on our glide slope. Sorry for that screaming beep there. We are all set for landing. Gear is down, taxi light switches are on, flaps are set, speed brake set, everything is good to go. We're ready to land. So we're gonna stay captured on this glide slope a little bit longer, and then we'll go into manual mode and we'll land it by hand. There's gotta be a way to turn these lights down. I don't remember. There we go, that one. And that one. There we go. All right. So we have 2 red, 2 white. We're all good on that. We're following the glide slope. Our speeds are in manual mode, so we'll get them down because our landing speeds are going to be 129. We'll do about 127. Here's a wing view before we land. All right. Continuing on down, we're about, I think, 1,000 feet or so above the ground. Let's get our feet on the rudder pedals. And we are ready to hand fly. Not gonna do it just yet. Wait till we get a little bit closer. Go ahead and zoom this in. I don't think we have any terrain to worry about. Nope. No terrain.
1,000.
There's 1,000 from the ground. 200 on a radio for our minimums. All right, we'll go ahead and toggle off autopilot. And we're going to hand fly it down. We're just going to continue on down that glide slope. Let the auto throttle manage our speeds. We're a little bit low.
300. Approaching minimums.
We're going to nose up just a little bit. And we're a little bit left of center. I want to move over a little bit. Continuing. A little bit off. There we are.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And we are down. We'll go ahead and go reverse thrust. Let our auto brakes do their job. All right, good landing. We are down. So we'll go ahead and release our reversers. And we should be able to get off at this taxi line here if we slow down quick enough, which I think we will. And we are good. We could taxi right off here. All right, not a bad landing at all. Welcome to Denver. So we'll get off the runway here. We'll clear ourselves from the active runway, and then we'll take a look at our taxi chart and do our after landing checks and get our taxi over to the gates or terminal. All right, so we'll keep moving forward here. Slow down just a little bit more. We'll clear ourselves of the active runway, and we'll go ahead and stop right here. All right. After landing checks, let's get up here. Let's get our dome light turned on if we can. There we are. After landing checks, going to be landing lights can come off. Landing lights off. Boom. There we go. Strobe light can come off. We'll set that to steady. Taxi lights on. Flaps can come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll push them up. Speed brake lever can be down. Transponder can be set to standby, which is down here. Set that back to standby. Engine start switches can be set back to off. 1 and 2. Anti-ice, we don't have the APU. We can toggle that on. And with that on, we get our APU bleed on, and we are ready for taxi. So let's figure out where we need to go. Pull up our taxi chart here. There we go. And here's where we are. So it looks like we could jump on Foxtrot, or we can go straight, cross over onto Golf, and take Golf all the way down. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna grab Golf if we can. All right, so we'll get our dome light off again up here. There we are, and we can release our parking brakes. We'll go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of throttle, and we'll see if we can cross. I think we're gonna go up here, make a left, and cross over there, and then that's gonna be Golf up there. And that will be the taxiway we follow down to our terminal. Pretty good approach. Pretty smooth landing. Clear skies, no rain, no wind. A little bit of turbulence on the flight. Looks like our APU is up and ready. This is going to be our left turn for Golf. So we'll take that. You see the beautiful scenery down there. I'm hoping it doesn't cut my frames too bad. I don't think it will, though. Denver seems to hold up pretty well frame rate wise. Especially at nighttime. I did another Denver flight, and I think it was also nighttime. It was Denver to Vegas, I believe. And I've flown into Seattle, but I've never flown out of Seattle. So that was my first flight out of Seattle. And I really loved that. I really loved the departure out of there. It was visually very, very beautiful. But we keep on taxiing down here. We are on Golf, and we're going to go to, we'll see if we can get to the Bravo November taxiway. Or I don't know if it's a taxiway. I guess it's on the aprons, I guess. The middle terminal, essentially, is where we're going to be going. I'll show you here. Right here. That's where we're going to try and taxi out to. Move that back over. So this should be, what, Delta Sierra right here. So we'll cross over here. We're just going to follow this straight down a little bit more. We're not going to take this turn off here. We'll take the, I'm not sure if it's going to be the next one, but not this one. It's going to be after these taxi signs right here. That's where we're going to make our left. All right, so not this one, but the next left turn we have, we'll come up here and we'll turn this back on because we're going to be pulling up to our terminal here in a second. All right, this is going to be our left turn here. So go ahead and execute that turn. And we're going to taxi right up to a gate over here. So I believe Okay, so we gotta go to the left here, and then we can turn off up here. Very, very beautiful airport. All right, we're gonna follow this around to the right, and then we will pick a gate, and that's where we're gonna stop. All right, let's see if we can see. I can see some taxi lines here, so let's do we'll do this gate right here. So we'll try and capture that one. It's so hard to see. Oh, okay, so there's the yellow line for that one. So we'll start slowing down. This is going to be the one that we turn into right here. Keep pulling forward. We'll get our taxi lights off as we pull in here, and we'll slow down. Go into a wing view, and we'll stop right about there. A little bit more. Right about there. There we are. So we'll go ahead and toggle on our brake. We are all good to go. Let's get our parking checks done. Parking brakes are on. Seatbelt signs can come off. No smoking signs can come off as well. APU generator switches can come on. 1 and 2. And we can do our fuel cutoff. 1 and 2. We'll jump down here. We'll go to menu, FS actions, ground services. We'll set the wheel chocks, and we'll request our ground power, which will also get our jetway over here. There it goes. We'll get established on the ground power as soon as that connects. Looks like it is connected, so we'll get that on. We're going to get off our APU. Our APU bleed can come off as well. We get our pack set to off. Isolation valve can be open. We got our window heats off. Our probe heats can come off. Our yaw damper can come off. Our anti-collision lights can come off. We'll turn our wheel well lights on for the ground crews. We can get our fuel tanks turned off as well. And I think we're all good to go. That would pretty much be our turnaround state. So there you are. Welcome to Denver. If you guys enjoyed that flight, be sure to leave a like. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way you can support me. And let me know if there's somewhere you want me to fly. I'll see if I can make it happen. I will catch you guys on the next flight.